The terminal sat in a rare state of calm, a lull between the chaos of boarding calls and rolling luggage. Somewhere overhead, a voice echoed, reciting the usual airline litany of delays and gate changes, lost baggage, and final boarding calls. But gate C-12 remained still. The lighting was soft and sterile, the rows of seats sparsely populated. A drizzle had just passed, leaving streaks of water across the high windows, the tarmac outside glistening under a steel-gray sky. It smelled faintly of jet fuel, disinfectant, and rain. Most people were buried in their phones or staring blankly ahead, waiting for the moment to move again. Then came the sound. Click, click, click. It was rhythmic, deliberate, the sound of claws tapping gently on tile. A girl, no more than 7, emerged from the far side of the terminal. She was tiny, fragile, with pale skin and large eyes that refused to look up. Her dark hair was pulled into a low ponytail that sagged against the collar of her thin hoodie. But it wasn't the girl that made heads turn. It was the dog walking beside her. Massive, disciplined, quiet as a shadow, the German shepherd moved like a soldier. Black along his spine and limbs, tawny across the chest, his movements were fluid and precise, his gaze constantly scanning. He wasn't sniffing or wandering. He was guarding, protecting. His name was Atlas. The girl's name was Clara. Clara held tightly to the leather harness secured to Atlas's back, her small fingers twitching occasionally, but she said nothing. Her steps were cautious, as though the floor might give way. They reached the row of chairs near the gate and settled in. Clara climbed onto a seat, pulling her knees close, while Atlas curled at her feet, never turning his back to the open space. A flight attendant noticed them from behind the desk. She stepped forward, her expression practiced and polite, but her eyes narrowed at the dog. "Excuse me," she said gently, "but pets aren't allowed in the main cabin unless—" Before she could finish, Atlas shifted slightly and pressed his snout against Clara's thigh. A small leather tag swung forward from his collar, worn and faded but legible. "Service dog, seizure alert." The woman's tone changed instantly. "I see," she said, more softly. "Let me speak with the captain." Behind the attendant, the cockpit door opened. Out stepped Captain Ronald Burke, tall, sharp-jawed, silver haircut close, and a uniform without a wrinkle. He walked like a man used to authority. His eyes went straight to Atlas, then to Clara, and stayed there. "That dog can't be in the cabin," he said flatly. Clara's mother, a woman in her mid-30s named Meredith, stepped up from behind, pushing a small carry-on. Her voice was calm but firm. "He's her medical service animal. Atlas detects seizures. She needs him beside her." "He's too large," the captain replied, unmoved. "He'll block the aisle. FAA regulation prohibits obstruction. I can't allow it." Around them, travelers began to notice. A few turned in their seats. A man in a business suit adjusted his laptop bag. A woman with a stroller pulled her child closer. The energy shifted, tension coiling in the quiet. But Atlas didn't move. He simply stared, poised and alert. Clara clutched the side of his harness tighter. Her breathing had begun to change, shallow and quick. Her shoulders tensed. Then Atlas gave a low, almost imperceptible whimper. His body stiffened. He nudged Clara hard, then again, more urgently. She blinked, her eyes losing focus. Then she collapsed. Gasps rang through the terminal. Her limbs buckled, her head slumped forward, but Atlas moved with impossible speed. In one fluid motion, he wedged himself beneath her before she hit the floor. His body became her brace. His front paws planted firmly, his back arched to catch her weight. Clara's arms hung limp. Her legs twitched. Then two sharp, precise sparks. Not panicked. Not fearful. Commanded. Trained. Urgent. People jumped. Phones came out. Recordings began. Clara's mother dropped to her knees, calling her daughter's name, tears already falling. But Atlas stayed perfectly still, positioned beside her like a sentry, his nose brushing her cheek, waiting, watching. Airport medics arrived within minutes. They hesitated as they approached, unsure how to move past the dog whose eyes locked onto theirs with intense focus. One of them, a young paramedic named Lucas, crouched low, murmuring gently, extending a hand toward Clara's shoulder. Atlas didn't growl. He didn't move. He watched. The medic touched Clara's neck, then her wrist. "She's seizing," he said. "We need to turn her." They did so gently, with Atlas adjusting his position to stay close. An oxygen mask was secured. Heart monitor clipped. Her limbs convulsed once, then settled. Her breathing ragged but consistent. Her mother sobbed, whispering, "Come on, baby. Come back." Minutes passed. Then Clara stirred. Her eyelids fluttered. Her hand jerked once, searching. Atlas moved first, leaning forward to press his forehead against hers. Her fingers found his ear, and a tiny smile appeared, weak but there. A hush fell over the terminal. "She's okay," someone whispered. The dog saved her. Captain Burke stood frozen, arms now limp at his sides. His eyes, moments ago full of conviction, had lost all certainty. He looked at Clara, not with disdain, not with irritation, but with something else. Something softer. Recognition. His first officer stepped beside him. "Captain," he said, voice low. "We can't separate them. Not after that." There was a pause. Then the kind of exhale that lets go of years of rigidity. "Fine," Burke said quietly. "He stays." At her feet. No exceptions. No applause followed. No cheers. Just quiet reverence. A shared stillness born not from spectacle, but from witnessing something undeniable. Clara was cleared to fly. The medics walked her down the jet bridge alongside her mother. Atlas led the way, his harness steady beneath her hand, his head high. In row 6, Clara settled into the window seat. Atlas curled across her lap, his body fitting against hers like armor. The engines roared to life. As the plane lifted into the sky, turbulence nudged the cabin. Clara tensed, but Atlas nudged her with his nose, grounding her. Across the aisle, passengers who had earlier looked annoyed now sat in silence. One woman wiped her eyes. The businessman from before quietly put his phone away. Nobody complained. The flight passed in peaceful hours. Night crept across the windows. The lights below blinked into view. When the plane finally touched down, Clara stirred. She smiled, small and true. "We did it," she whispered. Atlas's tail thumped once. They exited slowly, Atlas pacing perfectly with her. Outside the gate, bathed in the warm amber of evening, Clara knelt beside him. "Good boy," she whispered, wrapping her arms around his neck. He leaned into her, his breathing calm. Then came the sound of approaching steps. Firm. Measured. Captain Burke. He stopped a few feet away, hesitant. Something unspoken weighed on his shoulders. Then, in a motion that looked foreign to him, he knelt. "I was wrong," he said softly. "About him. About all of this." Atlas looked up at the man who had once denied him. There was no growl. No resistance. Just stillness. Then, slowly, Atlas stepped forward and licked the captain's hand. The man let out a quiet laugh. Then, a single tear rolled down his cheek. Above them, a jet lifted into the sky. A new journey had begun. Not measured in miles or flight time, but in changed hearts. Not all heroes need wings. Some walk beside the ones they were born to protect, quiet, constant, and brave beyond measure.